2 of the 3 judges gave Roach the 12th round. He needed that 12th just to make it a draw. That to me was surprising. So there's a lot of head scratchers here tonight when you talk about the score.
Clearly in there, man. I thought I won. I thought I did enough to get the victory.
If I'm Tank Davis and I'm coming off a disappointment in terms of my offensive output, I'm not going straight to the best defender in the division. I'm looking for some other fight, and I think the logical fight for him is a rematch with Lamont Roach. Let's see it again.
The fight between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. was expected to be a routine title defense for Davis, but it instead became one of the most controversial bouts in recent boxing history.
Lamont did his thing, though. You can't take nothing away from him.
He fought a hell of a fight.
He really can't. He stood in front of him, took his best shot. He was standing in the pocket, blocking, throwing back. Like, he was doing a lot of good things in there. And, he gained a lot of fans tonight. I'll tell you that much for sure, 100%.
And I do think that Roach actually won the fight. I thought he outworked Tank. I thought that he threw more punches than Tank.
In the aftermath of the controversial majority draw, numerous boxing professionals, including WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson, have voiced their opinions, with many siding with Roach.
Shit on him.
Okay.
We still got to see each other. He say he want to fight me, so we gonna fight.
But what do you think about the decision?
I thought Lamont won.
You thought Lamont won?
Shakur Stevenson, known for his analytical approach, shared his thoughts on the fight's outcome. He revealed that he had bet on Roach Jr., stating, "I made at least $20,000 betting on Roach Jr. tonight." In another post, Stevenson praised Roach's performance and suggested that if Roach couldn't secure a rematch with Davis, he would be willing to fight him instead, even putting a world title on the line. Taking to social media, he tweeted, "And if Lamont can't get a rematch, I got a big fight for him and a world title shot against me. That's my bro, but we can definitely make something happen." Veteran commentator Jim Lampley also weighed in on the fight, expressing his desire for a rematch after Roach's impressive showing. He further advised Davis to avoid rushing into a bout with Stevenson, suggesting that after a fight like this, Davis should take a more calculated approach.
If Tank won't fight the rematch, what happens with him and Shakur? How do you see that fight
Stevenson has a reputation as being the best defender in the division. He is a feared fighter because of that particular quality. If I'm Tank Davis and I'm coming off a disappointment in terms of my offensive output, I'm not going straight to the best defender in the division. I'm looking for some other fight, and I think the logical fight for him is a rematch with Lamont Roach.
Lampley praised Roach as the best fighter at 130 pounds and highlighted how he proved his doubters wrong with his performance. He expressed his desire to see Roach do it again and solidify his status as the best in the division.
Let's see it again. Let's see if Roach can go ahead and capitalize on what he showed here tonight, which is he was a much better fighter at 135 pounds than most of us expected him to be.
Okay, who do you lean towards in Gervonta versus Shakur if that does happen? Who are you favoring?
Based on what I saw tonight, I would have to lean to Shakur Stevenson.
During his live commentary of the fight on his private channel, Teddy Atlas reacted in disbelief when Gervonta Davis took a knee. He questioned what exactly happened and why the referee didn't officially rule it as a knockdown.
I think the referee started counting 8.
Whoa, what was that?
The referee's trying to figure this out. I think he's going to give an 8 count. He went down on the knee. I guess.
Wow.
I guess
what
he
is
talked his
going
way
on?
out. I think Tank talked his way out of that. He talked his way out of a traffic ticket with the cop. The cop had him going through a red light, and he talked his way out of it.
Atlas compared the situation to a traffic stop, suggesting that Davis managed to talk his way out of a call that should have gone against him. He also mocked the idea of a fighter taking an unofficial break mid-fight, likening it to a pit stop in a race.
He went down on a knee. He went to the corner. He must have had Vaseline in his eye. Whatever. He went to the corner to wipe. You're not allowed to do that. I mean, we're not in the Indianapolis 500. There's no pit stops.
Wow.
I mean, really, someone's got to explain that to me.
We're
And the
heating up
referee,
now.
I think the referee got talked out of it. But now they're going at it.
The fight was so highly anticipated and controversial that even Joe Rogan felt compelled to rewatch it after the dust settled and analyze it in depth. He called it an outstanding contest and admitted he had never watched Roach fight before, but became a fan after seeing his performance. Rogan also noted that the fight ended in a draw and expressed his desire for a rematch. In an Instagram post, he wrote, "Watching the replay of the outstanding title fight last night between Davis and Roach. I had never seen Lamont fight before, but I'm a big fan now. Fight was a draw, but it was an amazing contest, and I really hope they run it back." Meanwhile, Brian Custer analyzed Gervonta Davis's approach in the fight, suggesting that Davis relied too heavily on his knockout power. He pointed out that elite fighters sometimes become overly confident in their ability to end fights with a single punch. According to Custer, Davis seemed to believe he would eventually land a fight-ending shot, but when Roach absorbed the punches and kept pressing forward, it was already too late for Davis to adjust his strategy.
No, I thought he felt really well. I think, sometimes when you get at that level, you fall in love with your own power, I think. And I think this was one of those fights where Tank thought, okay, I'm going to get him with that one-punch knockout power. And then when he found out, man, this guy is in front of me, he's taking it. I think it was too late. I thought it was disappointing that it ended in a draw.
Analyzing the fight, it began with Roach dictating the pace, moving fluidly, and using his jab to keep Davis at bay. Unlike many of Davis's previous opponents who started cautiously, Roach was willing to engage early. By the second round, he began landing clean counterpunches, slipping inside Davis's wide shots, and tagging him with quick combinations. The crowd, initially pro-Davis, started to murmur as Roach continued to outbox the favorite. Amid the chaos, George Kambosos Jr. didn't hold back his thoughts on the fight. He mocked Davis by referencing past criticism he had received for his own losses and suggested that it was now Davis's turn to face scrutiny. Kambosos gave credit to Roach for his performance and made it clear he believed the decision was unfair. In a tweet, he wrote, "ouch, there goes the perfect record. That was a knockdown that ultimately made the difference. The dwarf had to go at me for my losses to Haney and Loma. Time to look at yourself, wanky tanky. Great work, Roach. Respect. Tanky, the jig is up." Boxing journalist Dan Raphael highlighted the financial and career impact of the controversial decision. He explained that the missed knockdown call not only affected the fight's outcome but also cost Lamont Roach millions of dollars and the chance to cement himself as a world champion. On his X handle, Raphael wrote, "Understand that missing that knockdown call has cost Roach literally millions of dollars, a career-defining victory, and another world title." As the fight progressed into the third and fourth rounds, Roach pressed the action even more, landing precise left hooks and body shots that seemed to sap some of Davis's aggression. Though Davis had his moments, Roach was the clear winner of the early rounds. By the seventh round, Davis landed his best punch of the fight, a looping left hand that momentarily rocked Roach. For the first time, Roach looked vulnerable, and Davis attempted to capitalize. In the eighth round, Davis again pressed forward, but Roach remained disciplined, slipping punches and returning fire. Jeff Mayweather analyzed Davis's approach, highlighting that he followed his usual strategy of studying his opponent before launching his offense. However, this time, things didn't go as planned because Roach responded aggressively instead of being overwhelmed. Mayweather stated, "He was just waiting to figure out whoever was in front of him like he always does, and then go to work. But this time, when he went to work, the guy went to work back. He had somebody firing back at him the same way." Mayweather made it clear that he believed Lamont Roach Jr. was the rightful winner. Though he admitted to being a fan of Davis, he felt Davis did not look like his usual self in this bout. He expected the dominant and explosive version of Davis, but instead saw a fighter struggling against Roach's pressure and counterattacks.
I thought he won the fight clearly. I mean, I didn't see Gervonta really the Gervonta that I know. I mean, I'm a big Gervonta fan, but I didn't see none of the Gervonta that I'm used to seeing.
During the fight, the first 4 rounds were relatively uneventful, but Davis began to turn the tide in the 5th round, increasing his pressure and closing the distance. While Roach continued landing clean shots, he had to work harder to keep Davis off him. The champion's power became more of a factor, and a few solid uppercuts in the 6th round forced Roach to clinch. Then came the 9th round, the moment that changed everything. Roach landed a crisp right hook to the temple, followed by a stiff left hand. Davis took a step back, blinked, and suddenly dropped to a knee. The crowd gasped, expecting the referee to begin a mandatory 8 count, but that didn't happen. Isaac Cruz shared his thoughts on the fight, praising Lamont Roach Jr. for his impressive performance while criticizing Davis for having an off night. Cruz firmly stated that the fight was not a draw, believing Roach was the clear winner. He pointed out the key moment when Davis took a knee, which should have been scored as a knockdown, but the judges failed to acknowledge it. Cruz admired Roach's approach, his pressure, counterpunching, and ability to absorb Davis's best shots. At the same time, he felt Davis lacked his usual sharpness, particularly in his defensive discipline. Despite his criticism, Cruz expressed interest in a rematch, believing it would be an intriguing fight. Instead of immediately signaling a knockdown when Davis took a knee, referee Steve Willis hesitated, and that's when the controversy began. He looked at Davis and asked what happened. Davis responded by touching his face and claiming that grease from his hair had gotten into his eyes. Rather than ruling it a knockdown, Willis allowed Davis a few seconds to recover before letting the fight continue. Brian Custer referred to this as a missed call that should have given Roach 2 extra points, which would have significantly impacted the scorecards. Custer also found it surprising that 2 of the 3 judges had Davis ahead after 6 rounds, despite Roach appearing to control much of the fight.
If you're Lamont Roach, that's probably the biggest thing that's disappointing, because that's 2 points right then and there. I thought it was interesting that most of the 2 of the 3 judges had, Gervonta up after 6 rounds.
The decision was met with immediate boos from the crowd. Replays showed that Davis had taken a knee after a clean shot. By all standard rules, it should have been ruled a knockdown. Had it been scored correctly, Roach would have gained an extra point on all scorecards, likely securing the win. Following the controversial result, Wade Plemons, host of the Wade Concept channel, strongly criticized the judges for failing to score a clear knockdown when Davis voluntarily took a knee. He argued that regardless of the reason, the moment should have been ruled as a knockdown, which could have changed the final outcome in Roach's favor. Expressing his frustration with boxing's recurring scoring controversies and their impact on the sport's credibility, Plemons stated, "This is why boxing loses fans left and right. Tank clearly took a knee voluntarily, and regardless of the reason, it should have been considered a knockdown. I still had it 7-5 for Lamont Roach, and that win was taken from him. Such BS. Despite the controversy, Roach remained focused and continued pressing the action in the final rounds. Knowing he needed to make up ground, Davis increased his urgency, but Roach continued landing sharp counters. The final round saw both fighters leave it all in the ring. Davis connected with a big left hook, but Roach responded with a beautiful 3-punch combination. Demetrius Andrade weighed in on the fight, acknowledging that it was a much more competitive matchup than many had anticipated. He noted that Lamont Roach Jr. displayed unexpected qualities, particularly in terms of power and distance control. According to Andrade, Roach came well prepared and showcased his skills at the highest level, making it an exciting and highly technical fight. It was a great fight. Roach had something we weren't expecting. He might have had power. His distance was good. He came in ready to fight, and he showcased that. Man, we had a good fight overall. While Andrade expressed uncertainty about whether Roach had done enough to win, he made it clear that he did not agree with the fight being ruled a draw. He hinted at the controversy surrounding the judging, suggesting that the decision may not have been entirely fair. Despite this, he appreciated the fight's quality and expressed interest in seeing a rematch.
He came in ready, prepared to fight, and he showcased that. And man, we had a good fight overall. It was a good IQ fight.
In all honesty, do you think Roach pulled it off?
I'm not going to say that. I don't think that the draw is good. Other than that, it was a great fight. We'll love to see it again.
Terrence Crawford also expressed his disbelief over the referee's decision not to count Davis's momentary knee as a knockdown. He hinted at possible bias or inconsistency in officiating, questioning how such a fundamental rule could be ignored. His words echoed the frustration many fans and analysts shared about what they saw as a missed call that could have altered the fight's outcome. Sharing his thoughts on X, Crawford wrote, "I never seen someone take a knee and they don't count it as a knockdown. Most of y'all forgot the rules tonight." Crawford also compared the controversial moment in the Davis vs. Roach Jr. fight to Floyd Mayweather's bout against Carlos Hernandez. He pointed out that when Mayweather took a knee due to a hand injury, it was still ruled a knockdown, despite not being caused by a punch. He then posted, "Some of y'all need to watch Mayweather vs. Hernandez and see Mayweather take a knee because he hurt his hand, and it was called a knockdown, not from a punch either." Asterisk. Crawford didn't hold back in his criticism of the fight's decision, outright stating that Roach was robbed. His strong accusation suggested that the judges and officials played a role in preventing Roach from securing a deserved victory. They robbed that boy, and it's crazy, he stated. When the scorecards were announced, the arena erupted. One judge had Davis winning 115 to 113, while the other two scored it 114 to 114, resulting in a majority draw. Roach looked visibly frustrated but remained composed. He had clearly outboxed Davis in multiple rounds, and if the ninth-round knockdown had been scored correctly, he likely would have won. Among all the controversy, the scorecards became the most heavily criticized aspect of the fight. The backlash wasn't just from fans and fellow fighters. Promoters and commentators also voiced their discontent. ESPN analyst Teddy Atlas called it one of the worst non-calls I've seen in years, while Showtime's Brian Custer remarked, asterisk, if this fight had been anywhere else, Roach would be walking away with the belt. Asterisk. Before the fight, Showbiz the Adult was critical of Lamont Roach Jr., believing that Roach wasn't a strong matchup for Davis. He expressed doubts about Roach's abilities and questioned whether he belonged in the ring with a fighter of Davis's caliber. However, after witnessing Roach's performance, Showbiz completely changed his stance. In a post-fight video, he admitted that Roach cooked him, meaning Roach had completely proved him wrong with his display of skill, toughness, and strategy.
Other than that, two-tone, Showbiz, I might, come on, all right. They don't know nothing about boxing.
What? I'm gonna tell you this. I got cooked. Roach, you cooked. You right. You right. That was my bad. I really ain't got. Only thing I can say to you, Roach, my bad. You ain't got to see me, dog. What you did with Tank, you ain't got to see me, dog.
Despite the controversial ending, a rematch seems unlikely. When asked about it post-fight, Davis dismissed the idea, saying, asterisk, I won that fight. Ain't no need for a rematch. Asterisk. Roach, on the other hand, made it clear that he wanted another shot, stating, asterisk, everyone knows I won. I'll run it back anytime, anywhere. Asterisk. Meanwhile, Paulie Malignaggi criticized Davis's career trajectory, pointing out that despite headlining multiple pay-per-view events, Davis has yet to defeat a truly elite opponent. Malignaggi noted that Davis's resume lacks victories over Hall of Fame-level fighters, which he believes diminishes his legacy.
This many pay-per-view headliners have not a single Hall of Famer on his resume. Not a single win on Gervonta Davis's resume will make you look at it like, wow, you know, like maybe Jose Pedraza's a rather solid one.
Paulie Malignaggi admitted that while a draw wasn't the worst possible outcome, Lamont Roach deserved the victory due to a crucial refereeing error. He noted that two judges had the fight scored evenly, but had the referee properly ruled Gervonta Davis's knee touch as a knockdown, Roach would have won by a single point on two of the scorecards.
The draw is the worst decision in the world. I think, you know, obviously Lamont overperformed here, or at least the look is that he overperformed. But I'll tell you where robbery can come into play. Two scorecards were even. There's a knockdown not given to Lamont Roach, you know.
Malignaggi referenced Floyd Mayweather's fight against Carlos Hernandez, where Mayweather took a knee due to a hand injury, and the referee correctly ruled it as a knockdown. He argued that the same rule should have applied to Davis, and the failure to enforce it ultimately robbed Roach of a well-earned victory.
Let's remember when Mayweather did this against Carlos Famoso Hernandez years ago when his hand hurt, the referee counted him. So that was counted as a knockdown. Steve Willis is supposed to count that as a knockdown. And if Steve Willis counts that as a knockdown, Lamont wins by 1 point on two scorecards. And that knee that Gervonta Davis took ends up becoming the difference on the scorecards.
The Davis versus Roach fight will go down as one of the most hotly debated results in recent boxing history. While the judges ruled it a draw, many observers saw Lamont Roach Jr. as the rightful winner. The controversial non-call in the ninth round only fueled the debate, raising questions about the integrity of the officiating. Though the official decision didn't declare Roach the winner, Paulie Malignaggi argued that Roach was the true victor in terms of performance. He highlighted Roach's skill, toughness, and ring control as the defining aspects of the fight, stating, asterisk, the draw is controversial, but I think Lamont Roach wins the night. His performance wins the night. Asterisk. With all the controversy surrounding the bout, one big question remains. Will Davis grant Roach a rematch? Would a second fight finally settle the debate, or did Roach already prove he was the better man that night? What do you think? Did Lamont Roach do enough to win, or was the draw the right call? Let us know your thoughts.